Drunk husband coming home late. This issue begins as a social habit but evolves into a pattern of avoidance. By prioritizing substance use over the stability of the home, the husband forces his partner into the role of a caretaker or a silent witness to chaos. This ritual erodes the sense of reliability, turning the home into a place of unpredictable behavior rather than a sanctuary of mutual respect. Cheating, physical or emotional. Infidelity is a fundamental breach of the marital covenant. Whether it is physical or the sharing of one's inner world with an outsider, it shatters the unness of the marriage. It creates a deep psychological wound, leaving the betrayed partner to question their self-worth and the reality of their entire shared history. Opposite gender best friend. This becomes an issue when boundaries blur and a spouse seeks primary emotional validation from an outsider. This triangulation makes the partner feel like a secondary character in their own marriage. It leads to a gradual thinning of the emotional bond as the sacred space of intimacy is shared with someone else. Domestic violence. The most severe violation of dignity. This is a systemic pattern of control through force or intimidation. It transforms a place of love into a site of trauma. Beyond the physical harm, it strips a victim of their agency and safety, requiring total intervention to preserve the life and soul of the family. Groceries finished, nobody told anyone. This represents a breakdown in communal responsibility. While it seems small, it reflects a failure to consider the collective we. When one partner consumes resources without regard for the other, it creates a mental load of management for the person left with the empty shelf, signaling that they are living parallel lives rather than as a team. Phone always locked and hidden. The smartphone often becomes a digital wall of secrets. When a partner is excessively protective, keeping it face down or hidden, it signals a part of their life they refuse to share. This secrecy breeds constant anxiety, suggesting that the unity of the marriage does not extend to the digital world. Spending money without telling the partner. Financial transparency is a cornerstone of trust. When one partner hides spending or debts, they are making unilateral decisions about a shared future. This financial infidelity reflects a lack of respect for the partner's right to have a say in their joint security, leading to deep resentment and instability. Following exes on social media. This behavior keeps a window open to a past that should be closed. By maintaining these digital ties, a spouse signals that they are still emotionally tethered to a previous era. It creates unnecessary competition for the current partner and suggests that the commitment to the present is not absolute. Comparing spouse to others. Comparison is a direct attack on a partner's identity. Whether regarding looks, career, or personality, it sends the message that the partner is not enough. This shifts the focus from appreciation to critique, making the spouse feel they are constantly failing an invisible and impossible test. Parents interfering in decisions. Marriage requires a couple to establish an independent unit. When in-laws dictate choices on finances or lifestyle, it stunts the growth of the union. Without clear boundaries, the couple's own voices are drowned out by the expectations of the previous generation, creating a constant conflict of loyalty. Refusing to apologize. An apology is a ritual of reconciliation that restores balance. When a partner refuses to apologize, they prioritize their ego over the health of the relationship. This lack of humility leaves wounds open and unhealed, causing resentment to fester until emotional distance becomes a permanent fixture. Silent treatment for days. Also known as stonewalling, this is a form of emotional punishment. It is an attempt to control the partner by withdrawing communication, leaving them in a state of isolation. This tactic prevents resolution and turns the relationship into a battlefield of endurance rather than a place of connection. Lying about small things. Deceptions about trivial matters act as a slow poison. If a partner cannot be trusted with small truths, the spouse naturally begins to doubt them on large ones. These small lies create a fog in the relationship where nothing feels entirely certain, making it impossible to feel fully secure. Disrespect during arguments. Conflict is inevitable, but disrespect, name-calling, mocking, or eye-rolling is a sign that the partner no longer views the other with dignity. Once respect is lost in the heat of the moment, disagreements turn into character assassinations, leaving damage that a simple truce cannot easily repair. Working late as an excuse. The workplace can become a refuge for those who want to avoid the emotional demands of home. By using business as a shield, a partner checks out of their duties without appearing like the bad guy. This passive-aggressive abandonment leaves the other partner to manage the household and their own loneliness. Neglecting children. When marital conflict spills over into the neglect of children's emotional or physical needs, the marriage has failed its most basic protective function. This neglect often stems from parents being too consumed by their own addictions or ego, creating a generational cycle of trauma and a heavy burden for the responsible partner. Addiction, alcohol, gambling, or porn. Addiction introduces a third master into the marriage that dictates the household's mood and finances. The addict's primary devotion shifts to the substance or behavior, leaving the spouse feeling invisible and powerless against the compulsive need for a dopamine hit. Controlling clothes or friends. This is a form of possessive control that strips a partner of their individuality. By dictating appearance or associations, the controlling partner treats their spouse as an extension of their own ego. Rooted in insecurity, it creates a stifling environment where the victim must walk on eggshells to avoid conflict. Checking phone without permission. While a hidden phone is an issue of secrecy, checking it without permission is an issue of surveillance. It indicates that the partner no longer believes in their spouse's integrity. The act itself creates a breach of privacy that makes the other partner feel hunted and untrusted, regardless of what is found. Shouting instead of talking. Shouting is a physical breakdown of communication, an attempt to use volume to overpower a partner's perspective. It triggers a fight or flight response, making rational resolution impossible. This creates a household culture of volatility, where peace is only achieved through submission. Blaming stress for bad behavior. Using stress as a permanent excuse for being unkind or volatile avoids all accountability. It suggests that external circumstances, not the individual, are responsible for their actions. This leaves the partner unable to address the behavior because it is always the job or the world that is at fault. Lack of intimacy and closeness. Intimacy is the glue of marriage. When physical touch and emotional vulnerability fade, the union becomes a roommate situation. Without this unique bond, partners lose the connection that distinguishes marriage from every other relationship, leading to a profound sense of deprivation. Emotional attachment to someone else. This micro-affair involves giving one's best personality and empathy to someone outside the home. Even if it never becomes physical, the spouse feels the drain of energy away from the marriage. It is a betrayal where the emotional wealth of the union is spent on a stranger. Ignoring partner's feelings. This is the essence of emotional neglect. When a partner dismisses pain or fear as dramatic, the bond begins to dissolve. Ignoring feelings sends the message that the partner's inner world does not matter, eventually causing them to stop sharing altogether and building a permanent emotional wall. Threats of divorce during fights. Using the D word as a weapon is a form of emotional terrorism. It shakes the foundation of the marriage by suggesting that the commitment is conditional. It creates an atmosphere of instability where a partner feels they are always one mistake away from being abandoned. One partner doing all the housework. This is a fundamental issue of justice. When one partner carries the entire burden of the home while the other relaxes, it creates a master-servant dynamic. Over time, the overworked partner loses their sense of being a lover and companion, becoming an exhausted manager instead. Living together but feeling alone. This is the final stage of marital decay, where a couple shares a space but has no spiritual or emotional connection. Moving through the house like ghosts, they are reminded daily of the union that was promised but has since vanished, a state of solitary confinement within a crowd. If you're planning to get married someday or already navigating the challenges of a lifelong union, subscribe.